podcast. Welcome to Take the L podcast, where we are talking about people who made the conscious decision. This nigga, to take the lesson instead of the loss. So I'm going to preface this by saying that these first few episodes are weird for me, but because all of the guests are my friends. Like, Ron is actually my oldest male friend. We've been friends for 20.
Can you just say one of my oldest friends? The oldest male friend sounds mad weird.
You aren't one of my oldest friends.
I can just say that. The oldest male friend.
But you aren't one of my oldest male friends. You aren't one of my oldest friends. I have friends from kindergarten.
But I'm not the oldest, but I gotta be one of the oldest to some degree.
Maybe like top 20.
You got a lot of friends. You talk to all 20 of the people all the time?
Yeah.
Acquaintances or friends, to be clear.
Elon, I'm not going to do this with
you. You gonna name 19 people before you name me? People you talk to often and you
I
know
will do it after this podcast, yes.
You fuck with them
that I talk
from kindergarten?
Oh, no, not from kindergarten, but like talk, probably not as much as I talk to you, but I do have friends, people that
people you've known for a long time.
Anyway, I'm not going to do this with Ron on this fucking podcast. So, Ronald Draper, mixed media artist. Did I say that right?
Mixed media, yeah, it works.
Okay.
Enough, yeah.
I'm not going to do your intro. I actually want to hear how you intro yourself.
Gotcha.
Like if somebody said, "Who are you?" It could be professionally and personally. Who is Ron? What would you answer?
I'm a guy who don't fuck around.
I'm annoyed already, bro.
I'm a visual artist. For those who don't understand what a visual artist is, because you say artist, people would think I'm a rapper. That's crazy now. People say, you're an artist. Like,
oh my
yeah.
God. People think you're a rapper?
Bro, if I say I'm an artist, people say, oh, the first artist people think of now because of just SoundCloud and the generation is rap. And it's like, yo.
Wow, I didn't even know that. I would never.
Oh, you rap.
I think I asked what kind of artist.
Where can I find your music, bro? You got to relax. I don't do music.
I would love to see you rap. I'm not doing this. Go ahead.
No chance in hell.
Visual artist.
Visual artist. I specialize in large scale murals. So I do large, think about side of buildings, think about large school spaces. I do art via home. I do all kinds of stuff that way. I think I have so many things that I do that I can't synthesize all that into one thing now. Mm-hmm. But long story short, I'm an arts-based entrepreneur, right? So I do artwork. I consult for a lot of artists. I manufacture tons of stuff for companies that people don't know. So I keep it low though.
Mm-hmm. I must say I didn't even know you consult.
I've had the company for like a year or two.
I didn't even know you consulted for other artists.
Because I don't want to make it hot. Okay. I don't want to make it seem like people don't know what they're doing. So it's like ghostwriting. I don't ghostwrite art. Let's be very clear.
Ghostwrite for art?
I don't ghost. See, no.
Wow.
I don't ghostwrite.
There's a market for everything.
Nah, I don't ghostwrite art at all. I'm sure people do, but for me, it's more so like brand strategy, like art strategy. I've always had that brain, but I just didn't really care.
You really have.
Yeah, I didn't really have the time or the space to really do all of those things. But now it's more so. Here's what this is. Here's how my brain works, and here's what I think works for you.
Okay.
And it could work in here's this idea that you have, but also here are the products that make sense with that idea. Here's how you intro yourself into that market based on what you've told me, and here's how you can kind of finagle your way into that particular space. Like I've been producing stuff for artists for a long time. A lot of artists can make the art, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
all the business side aspect,
the business side of it, all the things in between, the promotional products, the things that kind of keep you engaged with the art. Mm-hmm. I've been I've been designing pins for artists for years.
Yeah.
You've seen mine. You don't know I'm doing. No, I know
you told me that you did it for other people, but I didn't realize it was a constant thing. I will say that though, it's very hard for the creative side and the business side to mix. Even with me, I don't think I'm a creative at all. I think I'm more business oriented, and it's hard when somebody has both. That's like the cheat code, and you've always had both.
I actually do. I've had both, but I do think I leave my business side.
You do, but you're just genuinely a very disciplined.
I'm a hustler, not an artist. It's just art is my hustle.
You know that's my favorite motherfucking line. Okay.
Good job. Shout out to the reference and the sample of the
camera.
Yes,
if niggas don't know that sample, listen, you said it, but if niggas didn't know who that
he
was
says
from,
I'm a rapper, not a hustler. Just rap with my hustle.
Yeah, but I'm saying if niggas don't know where the reference was from.
Yeah.
Damn.
Then you don't know me.
I also am a bird. So okay. So let's do our openers. I have 3 questions.
Mm-hmm.
You already had time to think about the first one, so I'm going to ask you, what are your top 3 R&B albums of your lifetime since you were born?
But once again, does that mean they came out after December 5th, 1986?
Yes,
does that mean that
December 5th, 1986 and after?
But what if I grew up in a household and
That's not the question I asked you. I said
But
your lifetime.
of
Your
my-
top 3 of your lifetime since you were born into the earth.
Gotcha. I just want to sing is one of my favorite albums, Music Soul Child. I don't know what you've been doing the last few years, music, but or hustle, whatever you
That
call
nigga
yourself.
not been singing. That's
Not
for
been
sure.
singing?
Because that
But know
versus
that-
was terrible.
But know that it was a versus? Wow.
With him and, oh, fuck. Who was it? Anthony Hamilton. Right? It was Anthony
Sheesh.
Hamilton. And it was terrible.
Anthony Hamilton had to get him out of there.
Yeah, Anthony
Yeah,
Hamilton is
get
one
him out of there.
First of all,
Charlene might also be on one of my top favorite albums.
so I'm going to say this.
My Black
because,
Honda was named Charlene because of that album.
Yes, it was. She was named Charlene.
Because of that album.
I didn't realize it was because of that album.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was Charlene, but I don't know who you got the name from.
Yeah.
But I will say this. If for some reason, well, you're always going to be around, but like in my life. But when a nigga decides to finally live all this crazy, if he plays, let him make sure he plays The Point of It All when he proposed to me.
That's that.
That is my favorite. Like, that shit is like the epitome of love.
Yeah.
To me. But
There's a few songs. That's like of those songs, those beautiful songs. Like
I'm going to walk down the aisle to that song.
there's like
It might be to myself.
if you think of didn't who married themselves recently?
It was Maya as a promotional shoot.
Yeah, she gotta relax.
Yeah, she wild out. It was for like some song that nobody even fucking
So you think of the
listened
point, like songs like that, you think of like Kenny Lattimore For You,
to. Yeah.
which Keisha walked down the aisle to. Shout out to David Live. I appreciate you for making that happen.
Yes. Shout out to me for making that happen.
You throw in The Point of It All, throw that in. Like there's some songs like that's almost like new age, like Always and Forever from Heatwave.
Yes.
Like you have the Heatwave, you have the Prince
But
songs.
you're not listening to the full KennyLattimore album.
No. Absolutely not.
I'm about to say you don't even know.
I'm talking
you
about
even
the
know what that
songs,
album
though.
is on.
Nah, hell no.
Yes, I'm talking about full. Album.
Charlene, not Charlene.
Music. I just want to sing.
I just want to sing. This might be wild. Heist. This album got me through a lot of nonsense in high school. I want to say Jaheim, Ghetto Love.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever had to say
Not
that
the
out
Ghetto
loud.
Pilates.
Ghetto Love was ill. Like Jaheim, that first album of Jaheim.
I
was
would have
hard.
never guessed that.
Like that was
Wow.
Diamond in the Rough. That was.
I
Could
don't
it
know
be?
none of these songs. So you don't.
No
even
one
have to
knows
say them
except
to
for me.
Now I'm gonna go home and play Jaheim Ghetto
Like
Love.
that album was
that's,
fire.
Nigga, Ghetto Love by Jaheim.
I think the name of the album was Ghetto Love. Like that's like Diamond in the Rough might be one of my favorite songs.
Wow, I'm gonna go home and listen.
Mad
to
random.
This. I'm gonna listen to this on the drive home because of
What else? Song like I try to think. I listened to so much music before me that for one, there might be some stuff like I'm sure somebody need a
All
bigger.
right, I will give you the exception.
Yeah.
What's the
Nah.
additional album? What's the
Nah,
additional album?
we gonna stick to your question though.
Okay, thank you.
Anthony Hamilton, let's say Music Soul Child, let's throw it. Not even Jaheim. Yo, R&B, like I'm a soul cat, so I love. There's a lot out there. Damn, it's tough. There's some wild ones out there. I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna give you some
Yeah, I
time
know.
to come back to that.
We'll come back to that. The third one, I don't know.
There's 2 other openers I have. 2 gotta go out of these artists and all of their work.
Okay, so I gotta pick one.
2, you gotta
Everyone
pick 2.
else gotta go.
2.
Oh, pick 2.
You gotta pick 2 to go, and everybody else stays. So
Pick 2 to die. 2 gotta go. 2 never
I wasn't
existed.
I didn't say die, but they just gotta disappear. Like
I was making sure I was clear on the go.
they don't exist anymore. They have to leave, and none of their work exists. Nothing they wrote, none of their features, none of that. I have to look. I always have to look. I don't know why. Usher, Neo, Miguel, Frank Ocean, Chris Brown, Trey Songz. Did I say D'Angelo? D'Angelo.
So I gotta pick one, or I pick
2 that have to leave.
Oh,
and everything.
Trey Songz and Chris. Bye. Peace. Get the fuck out of
Chris
here.
Brown that gave us poppin'?
Gone.
Oh my God.
Gone.
Oh, that was wow.
And I fuck with Just Gotta Make It, but that's all I care for, bro. Trey, it is what it is, bro.
Wow.
And you be out here raping. You gotta relax.
That's
And you
also
be out here
that's
raping.
he's-
And Chris, you be out here
he
putting your hands on
punched,
women, but
he-
and it's not like I made a decision because of those things.
I know.
but that makes it very easy.
I know. Trey has been wilding.
Miguel, I really
Trey
like
literally
Miguel.
just he turned himself in this week
Wow.
for like hitting somebody at the bowling alley.
Have fun, buddy. But,
All right. I just realized I had no earrings on this podcast. So anyway, we're back. Okay, the last one. I think I know the answers to this, or at least the artist. But if you had $1 million right now, you had to rap one song word for word perfectly, pitch, tempo, everything. What's the one song?
Damn. The one song I can probably rap and not fuck up?
You have to like literally ad-libs everything.
I want to say More Money, More Problems, but I'm kind of scared.
Really?
Because the way that question,
like everybody. I did not.
But the way the question was presented to me was not if you had $1 million. It's like, yo, you have to pick one song that if you mess up, you get shot. So my thing was like, yo, it was out of fear.
I'm trying to keep it life positive on the podcast.
$1 million for it. Been around the world, I know too.
Original or the remix?
Original.
No, I always go remix first.
Really?
We've been around the world, yeah.
What Carl Thomas? All the ad-libs, bro?
I love those ad-libs. I wasn't going to say. I'm not talking about for my $1 million.
Oh.
I'm just talking about that's my preference. But
it's definitely. Wait, can it be a rap? Is a rap song only?
It's only rap. Well, actually, no.
Nah, rap is
rap and R&B.
Rap's definitely. You want for $1 million, you might as well rap. Rap's definitely more difficult than singing. Singing, you can kind of like you got time to think. I said
both on the thing. But what would be the R&B song for shits and giggles? Shits and giggles.
Yo, name almost anything on that Music Soul Child first album.
This nigga, I just can't imagine you going around singing Music Soul Child.
That's my guy. Like,
no.
Just Friends is easy. Just Friends is like, I could do that with probably backwards.
Oh yeah, and I feel like Buddy is. The West Indian me don't want to say Buddy because it makes me want to say pause afterwards. And I'm like, we're not a pause. We're not pausing.
Change. Who knows? One time. I know
but
all
I feel like
those.
Everybody was singing Buddy. Like even white people were singing Buddy. Like they were.
That was a good crossover.
Yeah, that was a good crossover song because even the white men who were thinking they were Justin Timberlake, they was out there singing that. I remember white men were singing that a lot. So, all right. Do you know your third R&B album, or do you want to get into the questions and we circle back at the end?
Yo, there's so many.
We'll circle back at the end.
Soul Star was fire too. Music 2 out of my top 3. I don't know. I don't know if I'm giving it that much credit, but
all right.
Soul Star was a really I think of albums I really, really remember and like play all the time.
Yeah. I can't believe Confessions is not in it.
Hell no.
That nigga gave us Superstar.
Yeah, I was never a huge I like Usher My Way, but it's still not like top 3 to me. I was never a big Usher fan.
I'm still not a big Usher fan, but Confessions did something different to my heart. You remember in college when Confessions came out?
You probably doing foul shit. That's why.
First of all, I wasn't a redneck ball in college. So this podcast is not about me. Actually, we circling back. So, mixed media artist. I know what's my favorite mural of yours. This because again I'm a bird. But what is your favorite art piece? Like, what's the favorite?
Art pieces.
Yeah,
wild.
I want to know what's your favorite piece.
Probably, I feel like there's one that everyone thinks is my favorite, which is the Harlem one.
That's my favorite. Like,
I love that for not because of the aesthetic, because of what it's done for the community.
Mm-hmm. That's why I love it.
Yeah, it's funny. Me and Janice were talking about the 5-year anniversary today, or not today, a few weeks ago. Just how much that has changed the land. Like, she's done the homework. I have no idea people do this work and what the metrics are around a piece of artwork and how it changes the dynamics of an entire community. I think the results of that are probably my favorite, but also I think the largest piece I did in the Harlem Hospital is probably one of my favorites too.
I think about the Harlem Hospital piece.
Nah, I don't, because I think about just how much. Once again, my metric is not based on the coolest one that shows up on Instagram. It's more so what creates more change. Mm-hmm. Young Gifted in Harlem definitely, I think, has done a lot for this community. And it pops up all the time. I come across blog sites to talk about places to visit in Harlem or landmarks. I'm like, yo,
I think
you were just fucking around. You played around and got that done, and here we are.
So you think that the one in Harlem Hospital is it's impacting more change?
Yo, it's change you can't see out here, right? I think I've heard patient testimonies. I hear a lot from the staff. I still have a relationship with the staff there that tell me how much my work, not just that piece, but how much my work in the hospital itself kind of changes the morale of the hospital. Mm-hmm. But also, I was born there, so it's kind of like there's a sentimental value with that, right?
Full circle.
I remember hearing like one of the coolest quotes I've ever heard. I forget who it was, but it said, "A man lives 2 lives, like the day you're born and like the day you find out why you." Like I chopped that quote up.
I was about to say, I was about to say Huckleberry Finn.
No. Maybe.
It's some white man like Tom Sawyer. Is that one of the white lumberjack niggas?
Damn, it says, I don't know about lumberjack, but I'm sure Tom Sawyer
sound like a lumberjack nigga though, no he?
But I'm pretty sure I can find the quote. But either or, like that.
Not Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer.
Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn.
I want to say Tom Joyner, and I know that's the music. That's the radio.
Because Tom Sawyer is not the Tom Sawyer is not. It's like the Adventures of Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn. So he's not the person who wrote it at all.
I feel like it's a old white man that might be racist, but he had
some
good quotes.
He had good quotes. He was just not
white
racist.
People be having some good quotes. They just be racist behind it. But
absolutely,
we're moving past.
But Young Gifted of Harlem, I think, has been the one that people most associate me with because probably the most public. Mm-hmm. It's been on the most show. I get signed releases for that all the time. Mm-hmm. But I guess for me, it's kind of like not an exhaustion thing, but kind of like I'm kind of not over it, but it's you hear so much about it, it's kind of like, bro, I hear you. I just become like tone deaf to some degree to it.
But I feel like since you talk about the change, I feel like that is such a big part of Harlem.
Shout out to the motherfucker who vandalized it. Oh yeah, they played a game. So let's talk about this, right? Fuck it.
Like I said,
let's talk about this. Go ahead. There's a definition that I wrote out of Harlem, right?
Yeah, underneath. I remember.
And for people who understand, if you're from New York, now hopefully the person who vandalizes is watching this because I'm talking right to you, motherfucker.
Okay, we can give you this clip and post on your page.
Yeah, just directly to you. So understand that if you're from New York, and someone says, "Oh, you're so Brooklyn," you know what that means. If someone says, "Oh, you're so Harlem," you know what that means because we are from that community. We're from the greater New York community. We understand that there's a battle of sections of the city. Mm-hmm. So I defined Harlem as an adjective because I know what that means. Is that if someone says, "Oh, he's mad Brooklyn," we know exactly what that means. 100%.
When niggas say I'm mad Bronx,
so we're using these places as adjectives.
Yeah.
So the motherfucker vandal, and it's like an educational vandal, so no one ever noticed it. He changed the adjective. I forget what he changed it to, but he crossed that he or she. I don't know if it's he is whatever. He crossed it out and they changed the figure of speech to it. I'm like, yo, bro, it's an adjective, but you're clearly I know you're not.
I did not know that.
But you wouldn't have noticed it because it's like I'm the only one. Probably me and maybe a few other people noticed it. But the thing is, if you're not of the community. Not just necessarily New York, just of the culture of New York, then it looks like a grammatical error. It was not. I know what the fuck I'm doing. Yeah, I've been holding that for years.
I know. I didn't even know that they vandalized it. So that's
my love-hate with like outdoor murals. People like fucking with it sometimes. But that one, you don't fuck with it.
But I feel like, you know what's crazy? Like I feel like you say the thing about the change, but like that mural is like a big part of Harlem right now.
Yeah.
It's a like people literally travel to take pictures in front of that mural.
And that's still amazing.
The Harlem captain and coach Jim Jones took a picture in front of that shit. Like when I did that, I was like, "That's my friend Ron, y'all." Like the burden in me because Jim Jones took that. But I think that it's especially for kids because you work so much with kids that space is like, yo, I have this picture to say Young Gifted in Black, to say Young Gifted in Harlem, like. I am from the Bronx,
and there's a video of those kids that'll make you cry. I promise.
Probably cry.
It almost made me cry, so I know you're tearing.
Oh, I'm definitely crying. Yeah. Anyway, I think that the fact that you see Harlem as, I will say this: Harlem niggas are arrogant. I love y'all. Harlem niggas are some of the cockiest niggas. Like I say, Brooklyn is it, but Harlem niggas are some of the cockiest niggas that I know.
Because think about it, right? If you're talking about, I remember hearing Killer Mike speak about this for a while. Mm-hmm. He said, my kids would go, I can afford my kids to go to private school, but I want them to go to public school until they're like at least 13, 14, right? Mm-hmm. Because by the time they get to high school, they're teenagers and they've been in our community so long that you can't tell them shit about themselves. They know so much of who they are, where they come from, and like the people that they grew up around and the shoulders they stand on that you can't tell these kids shit. That's how Harlem is. Harlem is a place that, think about it. If you think about black culture and the essence of black folks, clearly Harlem isn't the only place, but that is probably one of the most referenced places. Yeah. If you want to talk about the black experience, you're talking about here.
Yeah.
So a lot of us
there's no Brooklyn Renaissance.
Yeah. So a lot of us grew up in Harlem without like we were taught that we were the ones since day one.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're in black culture, you have black people around you. You see black people all the time in all different facets of life. You see black politicians, and everyone from the top to the bottom is black for the most part.
Mm-hmm. You know what's funny? As first generation West Indian, I've never met people who are like generationally from a borough until I met niggas from Harlem. Like, I'm like, where's your parents from? Harlem. Where's your grandparents from? Harlem. Where's your great grandparents from? Harlem, but nigga. Also, I said Harlem. Like,
remember, a lot of us folks from Harlem, we hold Harlem like a fucking country.
Yeah, because, that's a fact.
Yeah, Harlem's like a country. I remember my friend Tasia got married, and she was asking folks about the flags. They had some soca music. I was like, find me a Dipset flag. You couldn't find it. It didn't have it on eBay no more, but it's because of,
Because the thing is, I always want to have flags in my wedding, and I know you're going to prepare for a diplomat
Absolutely.
flag.
But think about this, just the fact that a lot of people, especially black folks, can't go back 2-3 generations to even know where their family came from.
Yeah.
So Harlem is a place where we planted our flag, and we're able to say, like, yo, if we don't have a country to claim, we know this is where we're from. We know this place feels like us. Harlem has always felt like us, so that's why we are the way we are, because we've always been taught. We never had anyone to tell us different. If you're in a space of just black people being black people and saying black people are amazing, you grew up without those like limits that other people have. From Brooklyn, you might have gone to a school where you feel like, I'm black, I know who I am, but you might have some white kids or other kids in your school might be telling you different. Mm-hmm. But if all you heard was, yo, Harlem is ill shit, black people are amazing, black people are dope, you know nothing else but that. Mm-hmm. So that arrogance is really just like, yo, we are a proud people because we've only known this, and you can't tell us different. No one's ever told us different.
I don't think I've ever heard you actually vocalize it like this.
Yeah, I don't think
I've heard anybody vocalize it like that. Niggas just be like, yo, we from Harlem, we cocky, you know what it is.
But like when listening to Killer Mike, he made that make sense. Like, yo, my kids will know who they come from. They know who the shoulders they stand on. So when they get to high school with these white kids gonna tell them shit. But that's like, yo, Harlem, we've grown up in like this, like incubator of just like us being us and only us. And we've got to see, like I said, we've seen black people clean the streets, seen black business owners. We've seen black politicians, black like educational leaders. There's nothing to kind of keep us humble, so to speak. Mm-hmm. It's not like, hey, black boy, you humble, like you good, but you ain't that good. People in our community were that good. Mm-hmm. We saw people that good.
Yeah, Harlem has produced some
the black
fucking gems.
Black excellence was the norm, so we never knew anything different besides that. And feel free, Harlem dudes, to take that and run with it, because I think that's where we all come from. That's what it is.
Just send you the video so you can clip.
Yes, because we really have been told that we are black and excellent our entire lives. So imagine, it's like Harlem's like black privilege. You ever see a white person walk through the world and not know, like, I'm the greatest thing in the world? You might be mediocre as shit, but you've been told you're great your whole life. Mm-hmm. Harlem is where black excellence and black like privilege lives, because we've only had that, for better or worse, for our entire lives.
I was about to say, there's a different air out here in Harlem. Like, I like Brooklyn. I never wanted to live in Brooklyn. Yeah. I specifically chose living in Harlem.
But notice you chose. Notice, you speak about Brooklyn, you speak about our entire borough. Harlem is
technically Manhattan. Yes, you're right.
Harlem is
Manhattan, but Harlem is not Manhattan. Like,
not even close.
Not even close. But this podcast is not about Harlem.
But it's about
you, which is about me, which you are so Harlem.
Yeah, I'm so Harlem. It's like, yo, listen, I've lived my life this way, and I've been told I've been dope, and I've been told I've been destined for great shit since I was a kid. So who is anyone else in the world gonna tell me different? If I've known this since I was a kid, ain't nothing gonna change me.
Yeah, I think that's what's missing in a lot of, I don't want to say black families, because I'm sure there's a lot that does it, but a lot of what my experience is with black people and families and just being kids, you don't get that experience let me back up. My experience as a kid and the kids that I grew up with, especially West Indians, you don't get that, like, yo, you're the shit, you are worthy, I'm going to say you deserve, but I know we're going to talk about it later. You matter. Actually, fuck it, we can talk about it now. You matter at a young age. Yeah. Like, I am about to be 38, and that's something that I am in the process of learning. Like, yo, you are worthy of this shit. You are a dope ass person, because especially black people, especially black immigrants, come into this space with like, don't cause a scene, Put your head down. Produce your work.
Not understanding how to take up space. Taking up space is a talent.
No,
right? Harlem motherfuckers love taking up space. We know how to take up space because mind you, it's tough to take up a space that you don't belong to, right? We live in a space we've always been able to take up a space, so it's very comfortable for us. But if you think about some other parts of the country, other parts of the world, you come in, even if you're talking about just blacks in America, right? They're talking about blacks in Manhattan, the Bronx, Brooklyn, wherever. That space you're in might not all the way be yours, so you have to somewhat, not bow down, but somehow be considerate or at least be aware of all the people around you and not want to kind of like rub anyone the wrong way.
Yeah.
It's even more extreme for people who are immigrants because you're coming to a whole new world.
Yeah, half our parents even have fucking papers. Never mind. We can't say nothing because next, they gonna catch our parents and we gotta go.
This fear, like I don't want to ruffle any feathers. I don't want to shake anything up more than I have to. I want to just, like, I'm happy that I'm here. Mm-hmm. That's been the thing. I'm happy to be here, and that's it. But that happy to be here shit gets you nowhere. It'll get you somewhere, but not to where you think.
Yeah,
you'll always feel like there's something that you didn't do.
I don't know if there's everybody feels that. Like, I feel like some people are really content just doing that. And I'm actually not discrediting them because I think that those people are needed. Like, if you are happy in your space where, like, you are just happy to be here, I'm not discrediting anybody's happiness. But I think that I think there are a lot of people who don't tap into even just having a fucking hobby that doesn't have to be paid for because they were taught that it was frivolous.
Yeah, I'm not saying anyone has to be like these grand human beings and create like life-changing and like earth-shifting dynamic things, but I do think if you just feel like I am happy to be here, not going to push for something else. Like, I don't believe that everyone. It's like everyone who's happy to be. I don't believe everyone is happy to be. I feel like there's always.
I don't think everybody is. I think there's some people who are literally saying they're happy to be there, but like
happy to be here. Just
it's a lie to them. But there's some people who, I think we have a lot. I will say, I say a lot of times. I think us, like you and I, in this space, and like a lot of people who are on our level or like in our. I guess I don't even know what the word was.
By the
like
way?
I don't want to say like our tax bracket or I don't want to say those things, but like we're privileged. We were able to go to school. We were able to go to college. We were able to we're in a generation in which the internet makes it easier even for us to pursue dreams and make it a paying thing.
There's a privilege that we were born into, right? There's a privilege that we were born into. Our families did okay. Like we didn't have to worry. Like we weren't the richest ever, but we didn't really have to. We didn't have to worry about like eviction. Like it was different then.
I tell people I didn't realize. I'm not saying it. By far, my family was not like destitute.
Yeah.
But I thought we were richer than we were because of the way we were brought up. Sharon is a lunatic, but
where you been, Sharon? I miss you. It's been a long time.
She's not watching this. I will.
Sharon, I'm gonna make sure you see this.
Sharon is a lunatic, but I think about mommy, and my mother was 24 when she had me. She had lost her partner at 23. I don't even know if my dad was pregnant with me. Yeah. Knew that my mom was pregnant with me. Like she was probably like a month and a half pregnant, and my mother was in school, and somehow she was at every single school. She chaperoned every single school trip. Any gift I wanted, I had. Sharon, like, it's wild because I think about it and I'm like, yo, but to go back is what I'm saying is we were born into that privilege and that was still a stepping stone.
There's a privilege that we created.
And there's a privilege that we created.
Like,
we knew that we wanted more, but some people are happy, and I'm not even saying it like to be funny, but some people are happy to be there because they didn't think that they would even have the option to be there.
That's different, right? That's like you see a lot of West Indians like, yo, you're almost like be humble with what you got, be happy with what you got. That's like the kind of like, yo, you didn't even need to have this much, and you got to be happy with that, which is like the enemy of go do more.
I don't even know if I've heard my family growing up saying "be happy."
I've heard a lot of like
I feel like I feel like them heard them say like you need to have money, you need to provide. We're gonna bring this back, but I will say, you know, grandma. My grandmother is my angel on earth. My grandmother, I think the only time I've heard my grandmother say, I am proud of you, is when I was working 3 jobs. Because she was like,
That's what she knows.
You're really out here working hard and making sure you have money for yourself. I'm proud of you. And I was like, I've graduated from college. I've gotten multiple scholarships. Literally, I got an award from Yankee Stadium in which they walked me out onto the field to present me with a check in high school. You didn't know that, did you?
That is very Bronx. That is as Bronx as it gets, actually.
And I had done a bunch of, I think I've done a bunch of shit at that point. Not like a bunch of shit like that they know, but I've done graduate from college, whatever. And it wasn't until I was literally sleeping probably 2 hours a day.
It's all about what people recognize, right?
Yeah.
Like, it happens all the time. I've had people say things that they're really proud of, and for me, it might not register. Mm-hmm. But I have to kind of check myself, like, oh, wait, hold on. My experience is different than yours. Mm-hmm. Like, I might have done this as a kid, and you're doing it now, but it is still something to be proud of, right? Or it's something you might be proud of that might not register to somebody else because they might even understand what the hell that means to them. Mm-hmm. So no one's ever wrong with that. It's not a bad. It's just like, people just live different experiences, and the more like age gap you have, especially you have generation gap and you have just full blown age gap, they're not gonna see things the same way.
I'm in the space where I'm trying to like respect people's goals and like what they want out of life, because it may not be as grandiose as ours, what we want, but also not supporting them being mediocre. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want people to settle for mediocrity because that's what they know.
Don't leave nothing on the table if you don't want to. Like, if you're okay with that, if you're content with that, cool. But even if someone tells me they're content with that, I need to be in therapy for a few years before I even believe that. Mm-hmm. If you say, I've been in therapy, been talking about this is what I really, really want, this is what I'm content with, then cool. But deep down, a lot of folks are just harboring stuff that their parents have told them and their grandparents have told their parents have told them. And that shit is real.
We talk about generational wealth. Let's talk about the generational trauma that parents have. But that's another podcast.
Bro, generational trauma is a whole different kind of thing.
I'm about to say, niggas need 3 hours. Ty gonna kick us out the studio with that shit.
But like what you said before, we've created our own privilege, right?
Yes.
We're able to do what we want to do, and then that privilege is going to extend to whoever comes after us. Mm-hmm. And just the fact that, not even then, just our lives are different. Like I create this privilege for myself to be able to do these things that I want to do.
Perfect segue, Ronald. So, because I don't know if people, this is why these podcasts are hard for me when it's your friends, because I know the stories. Like, I know the backstories. You went to St. John's to
be an attorney.
To be an attorney. You went to St. John's. You were a paralegal when you started doing art. Absolutely. So I want you to talk about that shift and what that looked like for you. And because I feel like that was also because you had the privilege to dream that was a
I've
possibility.
Always been a dreamer. Always. Okay. Like, I've been like an unapologetic dreamer my entire life.
I don't think I've ever heard you say that either.
Like,
look at me learning so much.
You might have heard me say it, but you.
I mean,
I don't think I've ever even said that, but you see it.
It's obvious, yeah.
Yeah, like I
it's been more obvious since you've been an artist, but it's obvious.
Like, I've had the privilege of thought my entire life, right? I was always able to make. Yeah, wow. I make my own decisions literally on what I wanted since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Like, from, hey, I want to play baseball. I want to play basketball now. I'm like, all right, cool. Then I'll pay for that if you want to shift to it. But a lot of parents are like, yo, I just pay for all that shit, bro. You gonna finish the season. I'm like, nah, I want to do something different. This is not right for me. Mm-hmm. So I never had the feeling of I put this much time into something, so I have to stay just because I have to stay. Mm-hmm. Like, fuck all that. If I don't like it, I'm out.
You really ran out that. Do you remember I picked you up that day, your last day of your law?
I don't think it was my last day. No, was it you picked me up? No.
I feel like it was. I think it was your last day.
Wasn't my last day. If I'm talking about, we might be talking about 2 different days. But, so I do remember, this is 2012? Yeah. 2012. That's the year Hurricane Sandy came.
Yes, it was.
The thing is, a lot of folks don't know. A lot of people met me in college, so think, oh, I'm law. Realize I've been an art kid up until college.
I did not even know you were an art kid until you started doing art. And I was like, nigga,
I went to the High School of Art and Design,
I didn't know where the fuck you went to high school. I thought you went to Truman or some shit. Like, I didn't know.
Shout out to Truman, though. No disrespect.
No disrespect.
No
so
chance.
I'm going to give a little backstory here. Ron and I have been friends for 20 years. We have...
Apparently not long enough for her to know what high school I went to.
I know now.
20 years
but
later.
In 2012, I did not know.
Well, 2002. 2012 was...
Yeah, but I'm saying 2012 is when I realized.
Yeah, I went to Art and Design High School. Shout out to A&D 2004.
Ron and I worked at an after-school program together, and this was back in the day when niggas called Ron Diddy.
Some people still do.
They need to stop. I want them to stop. But Ron was mad cool. It was another guy, Mookie.
Yeah.
Damn, was Mookie? I hope you good.
Mahmoud Abdul-Jabbar. I have a name. I remember names.
I do not remember that nigga name.
His full name was Mahmoud Abdul-Jabbar. That was his name.
Ron was wearing
his name. I don't know where he's at.
Ron was wearing shirts that would pass his kneecap, but that was my nigga.
Yeah, and everybody was. It makes it was just me.
No, you're the only one I speak to still from there.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying I'm not the only person who's wearing shirts down to my kneecap. That was.
Oh, I thought you meant I'm not. You weren't my only person who was my nigga, and I'm like, yes, you were.
I was an art kid that entire time.
So I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've been art. Like I'm one of the few kids in New York City who probably had art almost his entire time.
Yo, it wasn't until you did. We'll talk about it. But it wasn't until you did like your first piece, and I was like, when you learned to do this, nigga, and you like, I went to art school. I was like, whew.
Like my mind has been.
You think you know somebody?
Like my mind has been boundless for years. Like I'm really good logistically because of business or in business because my mind finds ways that people can't find.
Boundless. Wow.
Boundless.
I will never describe my mind as boundless.
But I grew up that way. My mother was an art educator. Like this is just the life that I knew. So law was cool, but law only was something because art wasn't a real thing then. Law was the backup.
Okay.
I wanted to do art, but there was no one telling me art is this and you should do art this way. Here's how to make this make sense. Financially, here's how to make a living from it. There was like a business and art class, but they didn't teach us nothing.
Yeah. So how did you get to artist from lawyer?
So never made it to lawyer, but definitely was in law school or going to law school.
I know, but I'm saying the dream was lawyer, and then you moved from that.
My father passed in 2012, and when he passed, like I've never lost someone that close to me, and the only thing I knew to do is retreat into like my safe space, right? And then I just started expressing myself artistically. But this is all perfect storm, no pun intended, because Hurricane Sandy was 2012.
November.
October 29th was the date of loss.
Yeah, because
I worked in an insurance defense firm, so it was October 29th was like exact date of loss.
Okay, I just remember because I was stranded in LA because I was, again, outside being a bird. But.
So granted, I had 2 weeks off from work because the financial district was underwater.
That shit was underwater.
Yeah, the financial district of New York City was underwater.
That shit was
no
gone.
trains were getting down there, so I was off for 2 weeks.
Niggas couldn't even get gas, but anyway.
I had ended up, I had a bunch of like random spray paint. I forget why I had spray paint in the house. I had stuff in the house. So I was stuck in the house. What else was I going to do? I started just creating stuff and just having fun. And then because of the introduction of Instagram in the world, I'm just posting like, hey, I'm having fun. People are like, yo, what the hell? Like, what do you mean?
I think I was one of those people.
It's like, yo, what is this? I'm like, bro, I've been doing this. It's just me having fun. And people are like, wait a minute. I want to do this. I want to buy this. And it became all of that. So like, oh, wait a minute. There's a market here. There's a market here. How do I turn this money into this money? How do I turn $10 into 20, 20 into 60, 60 into 120? Like, all right, here's how we're going to make this work. So I had a very clear picture of how this is going to work financially from that day, from even like 10 years ago, probably. Yeah, we're a little more than 10 years in.
Yeah.
And I've turned that into like a...
Because it was still hot out in 2012 when all this...
It was so nice. Warm. It wasn't hot. It was October, November.
I feel like it was warm.
I
be going shit off of temperature.
New York City be wild. Like New York City falls be wild. It might be 90, it might be 40. You don't know.
So, would you say that? I don't want to assume, but would you say your dad passing was like the most challenging thing you had to overcome in your life?
Hell no.
So what is it?
Up until this year, it's been changed. Like things I've had to overcome in my life. The most challenging thing that probably lasted the longest was my BMW I repossessed. You know about that one?
I didn't know your BMW.
When I was 19.
Did I know?
I was 19. Put like this. Why
was that the most challenging?
Because that's the one that stuck with me the longest. That's the thing that made me the most insecure for years.
Really?
So I was 19. And granted, I've always been getting money. People always, one of my assistants like, did you ever sell drugs? I'm like, no. Like, how did I be getting money? So how you been getting money your whole life? But I've always found ways.
You really have.
I was working at a mortgage company, making good money. Like
you was,
but I was
down.
But I'm talking about before that. I was working at a mortgage.
No, I'm saying you worked at T-Mobile for mad long though.
Working at it was like 4 years. I was working at a mortgage company. This is when like the housing market was on fire then. Young, like 18 years old. making a lot of money. But no one ever taught me how to deal with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, here's money, we throw it in here. No one told you about taxes. No one told you about saving. No one told you about how to manage all of that money. Do you think it happens after? Then housing market kind of went left. And then I'm 18 and things are much, much different than they were 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. Now you see people like losing their home. We're seeing all types of stuff. So I thought I was hot shit, made a little change. Like, fuck, I'm gonna buy this BMW. And I was like, all right, this is cool. Then when that shit got repossessed, like that shit, granted, if that happened now, I'd be a lot better, but at the tools of an 18-year-old were much less. And having to deal with that shit, it made me think about how I dealt with money up until probably last year.
You know what's wild? I would think that your car getting repossessed at this age would be...
Be clear, didn't get repossessed at this age, just to make that clear.
I said I would think that you said, because you just said
at 19, but it affected.
You said if it got done now, it wouldn't bother you as much.
It wouldn't bother me as much
as you were 19. I would be much more bothered now.
I feel like I had different tools. It would bother me. It would bother me more, but it wouldn't last as long.
Okay.
Because I have the tools for recovery now. At 18, it affected my relationship with money for the next 10 years of my life.
Okay. So how did you overcome that? Like, literally, what was the steps you took to, because
it was
10 years of that is a long time.
Like, it's like to varying degrees, right? It went from, I didn't even touch credit until probably I didn't touch a credit card until I was like 30. Because
we got our platinum cards the same year, remember?
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
Damn.
But that was me getting it back. That's me making sure I got back where I needed to.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, I went from that to...
I remember us talking about getting platinum cards.
I'm dealing with cash, mad long. Like, cash only for years.
Okay.
Cash, well, debit, whatever that was. And then, I literally, like, thought about, I don't want to... Like, it created a fear around not... So my fear around money isn't about not having it. It's about having it and spending it wrong. Or having and spending it irresponsibly. Which is different. So then you think about that. Like, I probably just started really getting over that over the last... this year in therapy, because I made more money this year than I've ever made in my entire life, and I was afraid that I'd blow this shit.
Shout out to therapy.
Then I realized, like, it's different. Then I had to think about numbers and percentages. So I'm like, I just spent my money on this. Should I have spent my money on that? But it's like, bro, I make a whole lot of fucking money, so I can spend it and be okay. That's when I was talking to you earlier. You say, if you buy mink coats, like, it depends, like, how much is a mink coat relative to how much you make.
For context, Ron tried to convince me one year to buy matching mink coats. I don't even know how the conversation. We were walking.
I don't remember at all.
We were walking to the ice skating rink, but something came. Oh, let me fucking touch it. But we were talking about spending money that I had gotten off of something.
But it's relative. I remember it's relative because I'm not gonna say one of my students, former student of mine, I don't even teach anymore. But his mom made it seem like, he's like, your teacher spends money on just clothes. I gave away a lot of my clothes to students. So you thought I was just hoarding clothes. I was like, nah, it's all percentage based. Because even though I have this, like, coat that, I remember she said, this coat was that much. I had one of my first Montclair. She's like, this is this much. She's like, you spent.
One of my first Montclairs.
Anyway. See, this is why I can't talk to everybody. But, so my thing was, cool, lady, if you think the coat you have, let's say, for instance, your coat you have is $300, which is fair to you, right? That $300 is more of your salary than the $1,500 is of mine.
Look at this rich flex, nigga.
Yes, and I don't stop away from it. But it's still, there's ways to it. Rich is cool. Rich ain't enough.
I appreciate that you accept where you are financially.
Yeah, work for this shit.
I think that's a hard thing for people.
Imposter syndrome, maybe I'm here. I've been doing this.
Did you watch the Oprah and Quinta interview?
Mm-mm.
Oprah and Quinta had an interview, and what I thought was really wild was Oprah and Quinta both said they never had imposter syndrome. They were like, I've never experienced it. When people talk about imposter syndrome, I feel like I live in imposter syndrome. But you saying that you don't have, I know that you don't have imposter syndrome.
Now it's better now. Like, when I first started making money, I was in between, like, it's like the imposter syndrome is not about how much money I make. It was like what I did, right? Mm-hmm. It was like,
yeah, it's never about the money. It's about if you can actually do this.
Not so I can do this. It was more so I felt like I was in between this artist and entrepreneurial space where all the entrepreneurs were like, this artist motherfucker ain't getting no money. And our artists were like, well, he's not really creating art. He's more of a business guy. So I felt like I was in my own lane and didn't really fit anywhere. And it felt weird. But then I realized, like, I'm both and I have no problem with that. Like, I do fine. I do okay. My wife gets whatever she wants. And And it's all art money.
Shout out to the wife.
Shout out to the wife.
Shout out to our wife.
Shout out to our wife. You initially.
We
won't get into that, but just so you know, just throwing it out there.
It's me. I'm the reason. Okay, and I was in that wedding crying.
You're right.
They're like I should have been actually.
You see the new ring?
Yes, I did see the new ring. Okay, I was at your house on your anniversary.
You're right.
I'm like, I was with y'all for y'all anniversary.
But that's when it's like little things like that is when I know I'm way more comfortable like with the money I make now. Cause I can spend that and not think.
Okay. I know, but I love that for you, and I love that you're able to overcome that. Do you think therapy was a big part of that?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Hell yes.
I think that I think there's still a really big stigma around therapy for some reason.
For 4 years.
I think people want to go to therapy, or they now accept that therapy is a thing, but they still don't take the action to go.
I have to get shocked into it. I went to therapy when my biological mother died.
That's when you started? I thought it started beforehand.
2018.
I think you need to give a little more context about this because you're saying your biological mother, but you talked about your mother.
So there's my mom, Beverly Draper, shout out to you. Then there's my biological mother.
Shout out to Beverly.
So I grew up, I was born at Harlem Hospital, but we're talking about 1986. 1986, crack was wild in Harlem. Mm-hmm. So my mother, who was which now all we hear is, if you have drug, substance abuse problems, come call this number, we'll help you, we'll do all of this. In 86, it was snatching babies.
Jesus.
I happened to be one of the babies that got snatched. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't grow up with my biological family. I grew up with my adoptive family. Mm-hmm. So my biological mother, I probably haven't seen her from the age of maybe 2 to probably 32.
It was 32?
32.
Yeah, it was.
I was turning 32. So I was.
It was your birthday.
I was 31, turning 32. So I met her, it was Thanksgiving when I was 31 years old.
Damn, it's been that long.
It's been 4 years. Wow. I met her the Monday after Thanksgiving. She died the Saturday before Christmas.
That was wild. That was a wild December.
That December was very wild. And I was like, I got to go to therapy. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to think. My mind was everywhere. So I was like, I had to go.
Okay.
If I don't go, I'm going to, I don't know. Like, I was so wrapped up around things. And granted, once again, I think that trauma is still less than the shit I've had to go through this year. Mm-hmm. But the stuff I've had therapy as a tool and just my own tools this year. So it made it a lot more bearable. I was able to withstand a lot more. Granted, I was able to go through hell this year and still make more money than I've ever made in my life. That doesn't really happen to most people.
You've been through a lot, nigga. Like, I don't know how else to say it. You've been through a lot. What do you pull from these? Like, I know people who have been in worse circumstances, not worse, better circumstances, or haven't had to deal with as much trauma as you, and their mentality is not even as close to like the way you think.
For me, I think it's never gonna happen again. When I saw that car taking my BMW, I'm like, it's never gonna happen again. It's like rage. So that rage, like, it's never gonna happen again. I'm gonna work this hard to make sure that I bought the same car again last year. Right? I think I bought that very specific car.
Is that why you bought that car?
To make sure that, like, that was almost like
I just be being your friend and not know what shit.
That was almost like I made amends. Like, I finally closed that. Like, I acquired the same car because I bought that shit cash as I wanted to, and I didn't need it. And not like I don't drive that car; it's parked now, but I only drive it 2 months out the year.
I enjoy that BMW.
Huh?
I enjoy that BMW.
Thank you.
It's a nice BMW, but that makes sense. It's funny that you say it as rage because I never see you as angry. But I definitely see you as. That's literally one of the reasons I asked you to be one of the first people on the podcast, because I feel like you've never let your circumstances victimize you.
You ever hear the expression focuses lies between rage and serenity?
No.
People will describe me super focused, but understand focused, rage is an ingredient in that. Like, my rage keeps me here. It's like, oh, you fuck around?
But do you think it's a healthy rage?
Yeah, now that I know how to, I know how to step out of it.
Okay.
For years, I didn't know how to step out. I'm just in it. Now I kind of know. I know when to tap into.
A functioning rager.
I know when to tap into. I know when to get out of it. Like, I know when to take space from it. I know when I'm in it. I know when to tap into it. I know when to say, "Yo, this is a lot. I'm stepping away from it." Take yourself on vacation for a little bit. Relax. But when it's there, I channel that shit all the way. Like, my thing is always, if something happens to me, it's never gonna happen to me again. If something happens to someone that I care for, it's never gonna happen again. I feel like, fuck, I could have fixed. I could have helped with this.
Do you think that's healthy?
Now I know it's not healthy.
Okay. Okay, I was about to say.
Yeah, now I know it's
I
not.
think there's a healthy version of it, and I'm glad you're in it. Like,
Yeah.
as your friend, I think that you've come a very long way. I think that
thank you.
You're very inspirational, but I think at the beginning part, a lot of people were inspired by maybe a very unhealthy version of you. I'm more inspired. I'm more inspired about this. I'm more inspired of 2022 Ron.
I love Ron. Love you work so much. Yeah. That's inspiring. Bro, I was working myself to the ground.
You were. I remember literally asking you about discipline, and you were like, and I was discipline, like, this nigga is losing his mind. Like,
my thing is, I can tap into that whenever I want, but I know how to get out. I don't live it anymore. It's there. If I need to go work for 4 days straight, I can, because I know I need to get something done. But I know I need to get the hell up out of that, too.
Yeah. I will say that I know you said your biggest obstacle challenge was like the thing that affected you most was getting your BMW Ria Pass.
For a long time.
I will offer you, this is just me being your friend, that you were your biggest obstacle for a very long time. And then you, in these last few years.
Yeah, but me being my biggest obstacle is literally like all the things that happen in between that.
It's still you.
How I digest that.
It's still you, but I think that you are overcoming them because I think for a very long time you forgot that you were human. And then these last
I be thinking about that shit all the time. You said something a long time ago.
You act like you're superhuman. And I think that these last few years.
I don't nope. That's different than what you used to say.
What did I used to say?
You used to say, yo, so my thing is I always thought I was human.
Uh-huh.
And you would say, no, you can't treat yourself as such because the shit you do does not make sense.
Yes, I will say you are a different type of human because you think that this is
normal.
What the normal human acts like, and this is not. You act
not at all,
But I am very proud of you for the last few years.
But it also depends on which humans you're talking about, right? If you're talking about
most humans.
No, see?
Me, nigga.
Nah, see you, it's different.
It's
but
me and hold on, but if the people around you.
But once again, that's still not all humans, right? I think there are people around me that how do I make this make sense?
Yes, make it make sense.
There's things that I've seen, there's people I've been around that it's like, yo, I know I can work this way, but it's like, yo, I know there's more out there. I want that too. And that me wanting that too has been the driving factor, and being around people who've also, I'm not saying necessarily healthy to be that way, but I'm not saying it's healthy to be that way, but I do know.
I was gonna say you do remember that wasn't the most healthiest version.
It's not the most healthiest version, but I don't mind putting that short-term time in for the long-term.
But I don't. So I think that again, I'm gonna go back to. I stand 10 toes down on what I said. I think that you are the biggest obstacle you had to overcome. I think the way that you thought it worked for you for a period of time, but this season that you're in, this run where you are going outside sometimes you're being very intentional about being happy and doing what you need to for yourself and not just like.
But that's much easier to do when you have money. So I can't say it's just me.
I think you'd be able to do it if you did not have money. I think that you.
I think
that you would. Easy. I think that you just needed the time and wisdom.
I don't know if it comes that easy, to be honest. Because
I don't think it comes
easy.
It's
very easy to say I want to go on vacation.
I just don't think money is it.
Take time away from work when I don't have to worry about survival. I don't have to worry about where money is coming from.
Do you think so? Do you think you still live in survival mode?
Hell no.
But is it just because of the money, or is it just because of your mentality?
I think the money changed the focus.
Okay.
Like, I survived enough to be able to get to a point where I can make the money. Now that I made the money, I can take a step back and breathe a little bit.
All right. I agree with that. I can see that then.
Because still times I still have to turn it up. Very much so. So I know it's still there.
You do be going into your little cave, and I'd be like, is Ron okay? Like,
I'm good. But it's like...
but you do go into, like, your moments where, like, you have to, like, check out and you just got to get some shit out.
I run 2 businesses. I have a staff of 7 people. Like,
You really got staff.
I got staff of 7 folks. Shout out to my staff. We took him out to dinner the other night.
I can't. Why? I was gonna say something. Why you ain't take me out to dinner too? Like, I'm staff.
But
there's one more thing that I want to talk about quickly, but I still want to talk about because it was a real. Before the camera started rolling, we started talking about your relationship with the word deserve.
Yeah.
Like, I laugh because I've never heard you say this, but also I'm one of those people who, when niggas will be like, treat yourself, I treat myself, and you deserve yourself too much, and to the point where I'm like, bitch, you wild the fuck out.
You don't get what you deserve. I think that you don't get what you deserve. You get what you can negotiate.
Explain that.
So First heard that from Jim Jones. What did Jim Jones about? First heard that from
Shout
Jim Jones.
Shout out to Dipset being the fucking
Dipset being the ethos of my existence, right?
Philosophers, professors. Shout out to Dipset.
The idea of everyone works hard, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're not going to speak up for
not everyone works hard.
Well, everyone thinks they work hard.
I don't even think people think that. There's certain people I know that they know they don't work hard.
Either or. The thing is, no matter what level you work, whether it's hard, whether you don't work hard, whatever it is, you don't get what you don't ask for. Mm-hmm. So you can work really hard, but you ask, like, I deserve a raise. Are you asking for it? It's like, I deserve this. Are you asking for it? Like there's the action that people miss. Deserve is not a verb. Mm-hmm. Deserve is just, I did this thing and now here we are, right? Mm-hmm. Here's where I think I feel. But where's the act to actually make that happen? The work is what people don't do. A lot of folks say, I deserve this, but what did you do to get that? What did you do to make sure you get that? You can feel like you did the work, but that's only one part of it. You can bust your ass at work, but if you don't ask for a raise, do you really deserve it? Mm-hmm. You worked. Did you ask for it? No. Go get it.
I feel like you subbing me, and I don't like that.
I'm not subbing you.
It feels, I know you aren't, but I feel attacked. Because that
ain't my problem.
Oh, wow.
It's not.
All right, closing question. No, you still have to answer the last R&B. But actually answer that first.
The R&B.
You still haven't thought about it?
Is Michael Jackson bad count?
I think that there's a large debate of whether Michael Jackson is R&B, but I will give you that. I will say it because I feel like it's black music.
Yeah, it's black music, and now we feel like
it's not R&B, but it's
we gonna
it's
say
black
pop.
Music. I would say it's pop.
Pop ain't nothing but black music that white people took.
All right.
But that, like...
Okay, Dr. Umar, what else?
Don't do that. We're not going to do that on this. We're not...
I'm sorry. I couldn't... You know how much I love Dr. Umar. All right.
What the hell?
So you're going to go with Michael Jackson bad?
Because of what it... Like, everyone... Like, Michael Jackson was full of culture and changed the dynamics of what black people thought were possible.
100%.
All the way. So
100%.
Maybe not the music, yes, but also I think without that album, we don't get Michael Jackson. Mm-hmm. There's other Michael Jackson, but Michael Jackson bad was... Off the Wall was dope. Off the Wall was an R&B album.
Yes.
Off the Wall was...
I think Off the Wall is my favorite over Bad.
Off the Wall was more of a... No, what? Off the Wall was his own album.
I said it was over Bad for me.
Oh, over Bad. I thought you said off of Bad. But Off the Wall, I think I enjoyed more sonically. Okay. But I think Bad did more for the culture because Michael Jackson was on fire and he was life size. He was like life size, but also like, yo, I'm still black to some degree. I do think
not the some degree. so fucking petty, bro. I think it's to some degree.
To some degree, I'm black,
but that in there.
Like it made black, like introduced, like every Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan have introduced cool black shit or black cool to white audiences. I was at the airport in the Delta line. Shout out to Delta.
Fuck Delta. My status not. My status isn't with that soft site.
So I'm in there. I'm looking at all these little white kids all with Jordan sneakers, and I'm in slabs. I'm like, yo, you got black men sneakers on.
They got fucking Jordans.
They all got Jordans on.
The Jordan documentary is actually one of my favorites. I rewatch it all the time.
But it's like, yo, you got something that was designed by and created for in the image of a black man on your sneakers. Like that's kind of how Michael Jackson Bad feels like. Mm-hmm. Little white boys moonwalking, and you can't say you're not doing something from black. Cause it's like when you get to see black culture oozing out of the world. When you knew it was there before, you knew white kids liked the shit. But now you see it oozing out because there was so much of it. It was so strong, so undeniable. So Michael Jordan and Michael Jackson are kind of that for me, but Bad did that for me. Where it's like, oh, white kids know this too? Oh, so y'all fuck with this too? So you can't, y'all know y'all bullshit when you say I don't fuck with us. You do. Because you moonwalking and shit.
We are going to wrap this up on that point. The last question. What are you most proud of about yourself?
Ooh, what I'm most proud of?
You had time. You heard me ask this question before, so you had time.
For sure, the most proud. I think I want to say the man I am today. I think I've done a lot of things in this world, but taking all of those things that I've gone through and all the things that I felt, I think I am most proud of the version I am, like sitting here right now. Not just because I make the most money, that's part of it, but I think being able to provide for my family, being able to take care of people around me, being able to just live in a space where I just like enjoy life a lot more. Mm-hmm. being able to do a lot more. There's a lot of stuff I do that people don't know about. Like I said, I'm not the guy who just says, I do this. Like, bro, I've been doing a lot of stuff for the culture.
There's some shit I learned on this podcast today. I'm like,
there's been stuff I'm doing for the culture for
a
a long time, and I just like being able to do it. And I think it's just, so it's not anything, I don't think any one thing I'm most proud of. I think I'm just proud of the man who sits right in front of you.
I'm extremely proud of the man that sits in front of me. I will say that. I say it on camera because I probably know, I'm not going to say it again for a while. Yeah. I'll like gassing you. Nah, but I'm extremely proud of the person you are. And that, like I said, that's one of the reasons I wanted you to be one of the first people on this podcast, because I think that, like, as much as people see the artist that you are, I think the evolution of the person that you are is actually,
people see like
the best
fraction part of what the hell I do on a daily basis. And I think all the things that I do and all of the change I get to like have power over is what I'm most proud of. Like, I want something to happen for my community, I can go do it. If I want to make sure kids get gifts on Christmas, I can go and do it.
Yeah, you don't care what it looks like.
I don't care what it looks like.
You don't care what it looks like as long as the impact is there.
Speaking of Janisha, I'm fighting with that for years. She made me actually like.
Yeah, Janisha will, let me tell you, Janisha will be on this podcast at one point, but Janisha is one of those people who, if you don't celebrate yourself, she will force you to do it.
I don't think it's a celebration thing as much as I just don't need to.
No, but I'm in general, that's how Janisha is. I'm talking about in general.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's wrap this up. Where can the people find you and your work?
Nowhere.
Okay.
I don't want to be found. Joking.
Ronald.
Stop making me snort. I don't want to be found, bro.
I went through a whole other episode without snorting, and I've snorted twice on this.
I can tell you what last time I posted. I haven't posted on Instagram in months.
All right, so maybe they want to go back and look at your shit.
Look, RonaldDraperArt.com. Everything you want to look for is going to be there.
Okay, you can find me on RonaldDraperArt.com.
It's all right there. You'll find my Instagram there. You'll find maybe my Twitter.
Your Twitter's a little shaky.
I haven't tweeted in a long time. I just get on.
You just be sending me shit.
I be looking at the chaos in the mornings. People, I don't even follow these folks. Everyone just shows up. It's just chaos. I go to Twitter for my daily dose of like black culture chaos. But
send me a few things.
Send me a few wild things that don't make sense. But yeah, RonaldDraperArt.com. Anything you ever would need as far as finding me is gonna be there.
Do you have anything coming up that you want to like let people know about, promote?
Nah,
no?
Bro.
Okay.
Like,
just follow Ronald.
Like, I'm not even like
art.com.
I'm beyond, like, it sounds wild, like I'm beyond those. Like, I'm not like promote, find this.
You used to do shows. That's why maybe you thought maybe you had like a show or something.
I might. Depends how I feel, bro.
Start making some more crew necks, please. I need a new crew neck. Actually, I don't need any more.
I do mad crew necks, but I don't do them for the public anymore. Not as much. The thing is, I'm gonna run them to the public and send them to all these individual folks, or I can sell 2,000 to an individual client. It's easier.
I just want a crew neck. Anyway,
I'm making crew necks for the people. I got you. I'm sorry. I get asked almost every day about that shit. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't forget about you.
Maybe we could do a Take the L podcast collaboration one day. Cut the fuck. All right, we're done. Cut the shit off. Thank you, Rod. I hate you, but I appreciate you.